Def is drumming. A lot of stuff going on.
Can you play that one? Is it Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes? It's a good one.
You have to play it for me during the break, and I'll probably be like on the desk or something.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, Parker, what are you drumming up for us this morning weather-wise? I hear there's some fog.
Well, this morning we're actually expecting it, yes, to be a little foggy. To take a look, you're actually looking at the relative humidities right now, a couple of areas, and the 100% relative humidity, that is guaranteed. Even some heavy fog out there. So really start seeing fog start to develop anytime it's 95% or higher, and you really start seeing that fog become really heavy when it's 98% or higher. And take a look here. A lot of us in the area at 98% or higher, even 95% or higher. So please be careful if you're out on the roads this morning. Take a look at your visibility. Anywhere that's 95% or higher, you can see a little bit less visibility out there this morning. So you can see here a couple of areas in the 4 to 5 mile range this morning. So please be careful if you're on the roads this morning. Well, it is going to be slowly warming up over the next few days into the low to mid to upper 70s over the next few days. We're actually like a 5-day trek of these 70-day temperatures. So beautiful, beautiful weekend, rest of the week and weekend to get outside to take a look. Probably heat up to the low to mid 70s today, making it a great day to go outside, like I said. But as we take a look at what's going on here and see why we're getting all these 70s, we got this high pressure kind of lining up nicely with this low down in the Gulf right now. That low gave us all that rain over the last few days, which is giving us all these northerly winds right now, keeping us in those 70s instead of the 80s and 90s, which you usually see right after the front. But coming next week, here comes this new low, actually rather deep low, that's going to make landfall in California probably late Friday night, and that's going to quickly move eastbound towards our area and develop right back in the Panhandle, and that's going to slingshot another cold front coming our way probably by Monday night into Tuesday morning. And we'll take a look at what the temperatures are going to be dropping to next week and those rain chances and more in just a few moments. Back to Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Police in Wilmer are searching for a 10-year-old. Here he is on your screen. His name is Ian Aguilar. Aguilar was last seen at 7:30 a.m. yesterday in the 20 block of Oakdale Street in Wilmer. Aguilar is Hispanic, 4 feet tall, with black hair and brown eyes. Police believe he was abducted by 38-year-old Juan Aguilar Cano. Cano is a white man, 5'7", 160 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Cano is believed to be driving a tan 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe with Texas license plate KVZ 1194. Both the suspect and victim were last seen in Wilmer. Police say they believe the child to be in grave or immediate danger. Call 911 if you have any information. The search for the suspect or suspects who opened fire on Victoria College's campus Monday night continues this morning. As for the man who was hit in the shooting, he's in recovery at an area hospital and is expected to survive. The man was shot outside of the Continuing Education Center around 7 p.m. The shooting forced VC into lockdown until about 9 o'clock that night. Authorities say the victim is a student at the college. Here's a timeline of how the incident unfolded Monday night. Police say the shooting happened around 7 p.m. Victoria College first alerted students at 7:30, saying there was an emergency on campus and to lock doors and remain inside until further notice. 25 minutes later, VC confirmed shots were fired at the Continuing Education Center. They alerted students and staff to avoid the area and remain sheltered in place. At 8:45 p.m., VC confirmed there was one gunshot victim who was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries to his arm and leg. VPD was releasing people in the building by escorting them to their vehicles. At 9:50, VC canceled classes for Tuesday and reminded students and employees that counseling would be available starting today. As for the suspect or suspects, they are still at large. The search is on for a man wanted on several felony warrants in Jackson County. The sheriff's office is asking for any information that leads to the arrest of 33-year-old Cody Wade Presley. Presley is from the Loleta and Laborde area. He's 6'2" and weighs 185 pounds. Presley has several felony warrants, including theft and smuggling of firearms. If you see or have any information on his whereabouts, contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Office at 361-782-3541. Consumer prices held steady in the month of October as inflation slowed further. The latest report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed overall prices were the same as what consumers paid in September, but up 3.2% compared to a year ago. The BLS said the core CPI increased by 4% and food and shelter costs rose from last year, all while gasoline prices declined, contributing to an overall drop in energy costs. The report will be a major factor in the Federal Reserve's next decision on interest rates. The Central U.S. Bank will meet for the final time this year on December 12th and 13th. Tens of thousands of demonstrators gathered at the National Mall in support of Israel and against anti-Semitism on Tuesday. The March for Israel rally comes as the war between Israel and Hamas enters its 6th week, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continuing to reject calls for a ceasefire. Both Democrat and Republican leaders spoke at the rally in a pre-recorded message from Israeli President Isaac Herzog. 4 new floats will debut at this year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Like every year, a new set of floats were conceived and crafted by artisans of the Macy's Parade Studio. This year, we'll see Igniting Memories by Solo Stove, The Deliciously Delectable World of Wonka by Warner Brothers, and Mutant Mayhem by Nickelodeon and Paramount, and The Palace of Sweets by Brock's. Macy's Parade Studio is a design and production facility that includes carpenters, engineers, electricians, as well as costume designers and animators. Look at those turtles. All right, well, remember to set your reminder to watch the parade, and also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:37 on our Wednesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. Food is always in need, especially around the holidays.
President Biden and China's President Xi are set to meet for the first time in about a year in California. I'm ABC's Justin Finch in Washington with a look ahead at their high-stakes talks.
And coming up after the break, we're going to take a look at that school bus forecast, that hourly report, and we'll take another look at that fishing forecast as well. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If y'all waking up this morning, or if you're just tuning in, look at a live look at North Victoria right there, and you can actually see all the fog on this little camera here. All the little fuzziness is that fog out there this morning. But like I said, it's a little cool this morning. 52 is that morning temperature, but with that dew point, like I said, only just 1 degree off, making that humidity at 97%. Making it a little foggy out there this morning, so please be careful if you're driving out on the roads this morning. And if you're sending your kiddos off to school, it's going to be about 52 as they're heading out the door with that patchy fog still in the area, but that fog will be out of our area probably about 9 a.m. this morning as that sun starts coming up. But it'll be a nice day today. 74 is the afternoon high with mostly sunny skies this afternoon, making a great day to go fishing. Let's take a look at your fishing forecast. We have a high tide today this evening about 7:05 p.m. with a low tide at 9:19 a.m. This morning with those winds just 10 knots out of the north, making those bays and seas pretty smooth at about 2 to 3 feet. And with all the rain we had over the last few days, that's gotten rid of all that pollen in the air. As you take a look here, tree, grass, and ragweed pollen are all non-existent today, so no need to take an allergy pill. And coming up a little bit, we're going to take a look at the temperatures for the rest of the week and next week, and we'll take a look at those rain chances and that cold front coming up next week, and that's just coming up in a moment. Back to you, Joanna.
Thank you, Parker. The second round of playoffs starts on Thursday, and the football team in Ganado has hopes of a deep playoff run.
At Crossroads, the Ganado Indians are in the playoffs for the 5th straight season and back-to-back under the leadership of head coach Josh Irvin. Last week's win over the Cougars put the Indians at 9 wins, and this is the second time in a row that the Indians have had a 9-win season. Ganado will look to improve upon that against the Mason Punchers.
We're going to have to put together a full game. We're going to have to play really good run defense. Offensively, we're going to have to find a way to move the ball, create big plays, score points, and then special teams has to be the X factor that it has been the majority of the year for us in all the phases of the special teams.
These two teams are nearly identical on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Ganado and Mason have given up an average of just over 12 points per game, and both offenses have averaged just over 40 points per game. We will see how the game shakes up in San Marcos at Rattler Stadium on Thursday. That's your 25 Sports Now.
Thank you, Gino. All right, we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. The leaders of the world's top economies are set for high-stakes talks today in California. China's president traveled to the U.S. for the first time in 6 years to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Biden says he hopes his one-on-one meeting with the Chinese leader calms tensions.
This morning, the world watching San Francisco, where the leaders of two global superpowers are set to meet face-to-face for the first time in about a year. President Biden says he looks forward to meeting with China's President Xi Jinping. Among Biden's top goals, restoring U.S.-China military ties and to
get back on a normal course of corresponding, being able to pick up the phone and talk to one another if there's a crisis.
China's foreign ministry saying Biden invited Xi to the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit.
It brings that strong note of optimism as the year comes to a close. It's so easy to look at what divides us. It's more important to look at what unites us.
The leaders expected to cover a number of issues on the sidelines, including climate change, the fentanyl crisis, trade, and U.S. ally Taiwan. On the San Francisco streets, high security and protest. Authorities quashing clashes between China supporters and anti-China demonstrators who lined the Biden motorcade route. The White House says President Biden won't shy away from tough topics with President Xi, but the administration says it's also aware many Asia-Pacific nations want better dialogue between the U.S. and China in hopes of avoiding a conflict in the region. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Food is always in need, especially around the holidays. That's why VCAM, the Victoria Christian Assistant Ministries Food Pantry, needs your help to have a successful food drive. Lori McVeigh, Operations Manager for VCAM, says their annual food drive donations are low right now and the need only continues to grow.
We're running low on food, and whatever you donate would be very appreciated. Thank you very much.
VCAM gives out around 100 boxes of food daily to those in need. For more information and location details, come to crossroadstoday.com. That leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We ask you, do you plan to make a charitable donation this holiday season? Okay, let's take a look. 75% of you say yes, great work. And the rest of you say no, maybe not this year. All right, we want to keep hearing from y'all. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. The time is now 6:45 on our Wednesday morning. Still to come. Suicide rates in the U.S. are the highest among elderly men, and most involve guns. Okay, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Brian. We love you and hope you enjoy your day.
And happy birthday to Justo. Happy birthday to our dad, Justo. We are blessed to have you in our lives. Thank you for everything you do for all of us. Love you so, so much. From your wife, Maria, Bobby, Angel, George, Joe, John, Terry, and Mary, all your grandkids and great-grandchildren.
Happy 21st birthday to Devaya. Have a great day. We love you too much. From your Aunt Gina and family.
And happy birthday to Sam Watterson. The Grace and Frankie and Law Order and Order star is 83 today. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com. Click on more, and under home you see KAVU to submit your birthday.
And the time is now 6:46 on our Wednesday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
Yes, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If y'all waking up this morning, it's a nice, cool morning this morning. We're going to slowly be heating up into the 70s for the rest of this week and weekend before a cold front coming next week. And take a look at what's going on here. The reason we're staying in the 70s for the rest of the few days, I know we just had a cold front. Usually after a cold front, we go right back to the 80s and 90s, which is pretty normal. But we got this high pressure out here, which is actually still giving us those northerly winds, maybe northeasterly winds, keeping us in those 70s for the next few days. But then here comes this new system that's going to make landfall in California. It's actually a pretty deep tropical low that's going to make landfall in California probably on Friday, and that's going to move eastbound into the Great Plains by late on Sunday. And once that does, it's actually going to redevelop right along the Panhandle, and that's going to slingshot this new low, actually sort of an Arctic low, coming out of Canada. That's going to slingshot that new cold front into our area by Monday morning. As we take a look at the temperatures for the rest of this week, like I said, we're going to be heating up into the mid to upper 70s this week, making a beautiful week and weekend to go outside. But as that cold front comes out next weekend, it's probably going to put a little tamper on your Thanksgiving travel forecast for next week. So you might want to go this weekend. We'll take a look at that more in just a few moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Suicide rates in the U.S. are the highest among elderly men and most involve guns. A report published Wednesday by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the suicide rate in the U.S. spiked in 2021, reversing 2 years of decline. Rates among older men were especially high. In 2021, there were about 30 suicide deaths for every 100,000 men ages 55 and older. Men 85 and older were most at risk, with nearly 56 suicide deaths for every 100,000. Depression, disease, disability, disconnection, and deadly means like firearms were major contributing factors, making older adults more vulnerable for suicide. Firearms accounted for at least 3/4 of suicides among men 65 and older in 2021. While older adults tend to have higher rates of suicide, they represent a small share of the total number of suicides in the U.S. Victoria College kicks off a 6-week smoking cessation program. Paula Crawford teaches this program, and she's had several classes with good success rates. The success of the program comes from just changing your mindset a little bit and modifying what you're doing without having a lot of pressure to do so. It can be very scary all the same for vapors and smokers.
Walked in those shoes and smoked, it would be real easy to teach this class and tell people you need to do this, that, this, and that if you have not ever smoked. So people can relate to it. It's a struggle. It's not a one and done. It's a lifetime switch.
The 6-week plan of action will be done by New Year's Day. Then you can ring in the new year without cigarettes and vapes. For more information, call 361-541-0363. Still to come on Sunrise News to Know Before You Go. 3 students from a Houston high school were stabbed following an argument. 3 students from Yates High School in Houston were stabbed following an argument at a bus stop near the University of Houston Tuesday evening. It happened around 5 p.m. on Scott Street. Police say students were involved in an argument with a man. During the argument, the suspect pulled out a knife and stabbed the students. The students sustained significant injuries and were transported to local hospitals. Police say all 3 students are expected to survive. It's unclear what led up to the stabbing. Police in Washington, D.C. are investigating after an Amazon delivery van was carjacked by gunpoint on Tuesday. The incident led officers on a chase across the city. The police department was alerted by county police that the department's Guardian helicopter was following a carjacked vehicle that was entering Washington, D.C. Guardian advised the local police department they witnessed the suspect commit an armed carjacking of an Amazon delivery van on Bellevue Street. It's also said that during the carjacking, shots were fired, but no one appeared to be struck. The chaos ended with a crash in Maryland. A person was taken into custody and the truck was recovered. The Georgia 2020 election subversion case against former President Donald Trump and his allies is likely to not end before the next year's presidential election. Tuesday, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis says the trial will take many months and may not conclude until the winter or early part of 2025. That means a president could be elected by the time a verdict is reached in the case. Willis said appeals could go on for years, and that she does not take election cycles into consideration when making decisions. Trump has pled not guilty to more than 10 charges in connection with efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. So far, a trial date has not been set for Trump in the Georgia case. 4 defendants have accepted plea deals in the case. This week is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. Today is the SNAP Challenge. Imagine if you only had $5 to eat or to use to buy food to eat for the entire day. I'd probably get rice and beans. What would you do? You're encouraged to share your meals and journey for the day on social media. Make sure to use the hashtag HHAW2023 under your social media post. Our Savior's Lutheran Church is having their 9th annual Community Thanksgiving Feast this Saturday. They'll be serving the free feast to the public from 4 to 6 p.m. for anyone that wants to come. It started off being for the homeless, and now this affair has grown to serve everyone. The feast provides food for more than 700 people each year. This is the church's way of giving back to the community.
Rewarding to me to see our multipurpose room filled with people celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoying each other's company, where they may be lonely, and this is going to be maybe their only form of communication at Thanksgiving.
If you miss the festivities, then you're always welcome to Our Savior's Lutheran Church to come for food every second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 4 to 5 p.m. New, 7 more women join a lawsuit challenging Texas's abortion laws. The 20 patients on the lawsuit allege that they were denied abortion care in the state for their medically complex pregnancies. Read the story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. And now we have time for a final check of our forecast with Parker. Parker.
Thanks, Carolina, and good morning, folks. If you're all just waking up this morning, if you're just tuning in, you look live, look at North Victoria, where it's actually quite cloudy, or not cloudy, actually quite foggy. There you can see that little fog out there with that haze. 53 is that morning temperature starting out the day, but with that dew point at 51, making it a 93% humidity. So take a look at that visibility. Like we said, a little foggy out there, so please be careful out on the road this morning if you're driving, because you might see some patchy fog out there. So like I said, please be careful. Well, today's going to be the first day of a solid 5-day trek of nice 70-degree weather, hitting probably the low to mid 70s today. But as we take a look at what's going on here, we've got that high pressure out just out along the east coast right now, giving us those northerly winds, keeping us in the cool or coolish 70s. But then we're going to have another cold front coming next week, as this low that's going to make landfall in California. It's going to move along the coast into California and then to the Great Plains by Sunday, bringing us that cold front into our area by Monday evening. If you take a look at the 7-day here, we're going to be slowly warming up into the upper 70s by the end of this week and this weekend. But then here comes that cold front. We'll take a look at that and more tomorrow.
All right, well, thank you so much, Parker. Maybe this is the weekend to visit family for Thanksgiving.
I agree. I think so.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today, and join us tonight for 25 News Now at 5 and 10.